The Houston Texans are now 0-2 after a heartbreaking 20-19 loss at NRG Stadium tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll tell you who's to blame for this one and where they go from here. Plus, we hear from you. I'm Paul Gallant, and this is the Gallant Says podcast.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people are.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. It is Monday night, September 15th at 11:04 p.m. Central Time, live on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports, on X and Twitter at Gallant Says, and on Instagram as well at Sports Gallant. If you haven't already, please like this video or subscribe on YouTube and sub on Twitch. If you're seeing me for the first time on any of these things, every little bit of help I sure appreciate. You can also get it after the fact, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you haven't already, and you're a podcast person. Subscribe to the podcast and please leave a 5-star rating. Again, every little bit helps. So, that sucked, huh? Not good. The Texans are 0-2. First two games of the season have been against two playoff caliber NFC teams. And the way that they've gone down, where your offense has been, let's be frank, impotent, certainly pisses you off. CJ Stroud, your quarterback. Yes, there's some limitations for this offense. Second straight week with an entirely new rotation on the offensive line. Ed Ingram's back, but Jake Andrews is out. Titus Howard's back at right tackle. Ariante Ursery's back at left tackle. No Christian Kirk either. So it's a receiving core that's Nico Collins and I don't know. After that, do you trust Xavier Hutchinson? Do you trust Justin Watson? Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, clearly not at the point now where the Texans coaching staff trusts them. Maybe that changes for week 3. You got Nick Chubb on getting the rock, and Nick Chubb did not look like Nick Chubb last week. You got Dare Ogunbowale checking in from time to time. I don't know if I want to see that anymore, especially given what I saw from Woody Marks. The offense isn't good enough. And I know a lot of people are going to lay this at the feet of the offense. Whether it's offensive coordinator Nick Haley. The Texans were 2 of 9 on third down. Missed a lot of opportunities. Not 1, not 2, but 3 plays from the 1-yard line. No touchdown. Not even a field goal. Ultimately, the difference is 1 point. Captain hindsight, go back in time. Did he kick the field goal there? Nico Collins. Not a lot of work tonight. I think a lot of people were hoping that Nico Collins would get more work. And when you see that shot play that the Texans threw, where C.J. Stroud throws that beautiful ball to Nico Collins, who shows impeccable footwork to get that 29-yard touchdown reception, you would have thought that Nico Collins would be more involved. 3 catches, 52 yards. Another game where almost all of your receivers have 3 catches or less. Cade Stover was your leading receiver week 1 with 4 catches. So you're not getting Nico Collins the ball enough. You're not running the football particularly well. C.J. Stroud, rather inaccurate. He had some good throws, but he had some misfires. Impressive escapes a couple of times, but he was sacked 3 times. I know we're all going to lay this at the feet of the offense. And this is where I'm going to zag a little bit. I'm not quite there blaming the offense more than I am any other part of the ball. I think this is more on the defense. I say that because this offense is what it is. I have very low expectations for this unit as they try to get everything going. Look at that offensive line. Do you trust this offensive line? I wasn't the biggest Laramie Tunsil fan, for sure, but there's no doubt he's more talented than anybody on this offensive line. Hopefully, Ariante Ursary grows into being a really good to great left tackle. But, I mean, Titus Howard's your best offensive lineman from last year. Jared Patterson's not as good as Jake Andrews going into this season in the eyes of the Texans. Laken Tomlinson, retread. Ed Ingram, retread. I have low expectations for the offensive line. Joe Mixon's out. So Nick Chubb's in. Is Nick Chubb still Nick Chubb? Probably not, based off of tonight. Rams' run defense gave up nearly 500 yards in 2 games to Saquon Barkley last season. So, as I said a couple of times during the week, maybe we had to take what he did against the Rams on Sunday, the week before, with a little bit of a grain of salt. I did say on KHOU Sports Extra, hammer the rock, hammer the rock, hammer the rock. Yeah, I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if this offensive line is capable of doing that. And no Christian Kirk hurts, because I really don't know who you trust at receiver after Nico Collins, which allows a team like the Bucs to double cover Nico, which is what CJ Stroud said they were doing. And again, I don't watch the All 22, especially haven't watched it yet. I'm just reacting to what I saw instantly. But I think people have outsized and unfair expectations for this offense. Later in the year, the hope is that it's better. Obviously, it's put up or shut up time when you're 0-2, but I think you got to dial the expectations back. The hope is that the offense eventually catches up to where the defense is, and that's what drives me crazy. How does this Texans defense, with all the talent that it has, allow a Bucs offense that's missing its left tackle to open the game, Tristan Wirfs, that's missing their right tackle, what's his name? I forget. A little bit later on. How the fuck does that team run all over you the way that they did? Again, 30 carries, 169 yards. Do the math, 5.6 yards per carry. They had a 9-minute drive to give them a 14-10 lead in the second quarter. 37 minutes and 9 seconds time of possession. Missed tackles left and right, including the one where Henry To'o misses that tackle of Baker Mayfield in the open field. I'd have to go back and watch the film to determine whether or not To'o had a good game, but you can't miss that one. Does feel a lot like, remember that time in Texans Cowboys back in 2014 where J.J. Watt has Tony Romo lined up for a sack and he misses it and the Cowboys throw a game-winning touchdown pass and they win? Watt might have played better before that, but you remember that one play. And that's a shame because there were some guys who played well today. Derek Stingley, I thought, did a good job against Mike Evans. It's a tough battle. Mike Evans is bigger than him. Sheldon Rankins had some good moments. Will Anderson had some good moments. To'o, you take a look at the numbers. I mean, he had 11 total tackles, 7 of them. 1 tackle for a loss. Total tackle number can be a little bit misleading. I think that there should be categories as far as where tackles take place. I used to feel this way with Bobby Wagner towards the end of his time in Seattle. A lot of people would say, oh, Bobby Wagner, look at all the tackles he has. Well, where are the tackles happening? Ask any linebacker who played in the NFL, like one in particular that I used to talk to, and he used to say, it's not really plugging the gaps the way that he used to. I'm laying this at the feet of the defense. D'Amico Ryans seemed very frustrated after this game. CJ Stroud was the most depressed and sad that I think I've ever seen him after a Texans game. That's a little concerning, both of those things. Here you are, 0-2. And look, these first 2 games are NFC games, so they don't affect playoff positioning as far as tiebreakers. But you're 0-2 with a game against a Jaguars team that's 1-1 and needs to win. That's definitely shown consistently more of a pulse on offense, even if Trevor Lawrence has been inaccurate. Liam Cohen's got some questions maybe about Trevor Lawrence and his accuracy. I've always had questions about Trevor Lawrence's accuracy, maybe about Brian Thomas's physicality, but they won a game. You got the Titans after that. Cam Ward has been frisky. And then you have a game against the Ravens before the bye week on October 5th. And I mean, they fucking own you. 0-2 is not the end of the world. My favorite team growing up, the New England Patriots, were 0-2 to start off the 1996 season. They made it to Super Bowl 31. The 2001 Patriots were 0-2 to start the 2001 season. They won the Super Bowl 36. The Houston Texans were 0-3 to start the 2018 season. They won 9 in a row after that. It's not the end of the world. The Chiefs are also 0-2. But, I mean, your record puts you in the same conversation as the following teams. Because you are what your record is, no matter what the talent is on the field. The Jets, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Titans, the Giants, the Bears, the Saints, the Panthers. You are one of those teams. The Chiefs are the defending AFC champions, and the Chiefs, to open up the year, played the Chargers, who look like they're well on their way to being 2-0, and the Super Bowl champion Eagles. You played some good teams. The Rams almost beat the Eagles, closer to any team beating the Eagles in the playoffs last year. The Bucs are good. But you're on the same level as the Bucs. This is a home game. The Bucs were hamstrung on their offensive line. Your defense should have won you this game. It did not. It did not make plays. Your special teams did. Special teams nearly had 2 block punts. Kylie Fairbairn hit a 50-plus yard field goal. Jalen Noel might be special as a returner. That's actually the best part about this game. Your special teams. Frank Ross, pat on the back. But, defensively, I need more. Offensively, my expectations are very low. So there you go, everybody. Let's read some of your comments. First off, let's start with Instagram. Ultimate fan, my guy, Steve, says, this is bullshit. What the hell? Frustrated with Nick Chubb. I'm asking the same thing. Too many damn penalties. Yep. I mean, I guess the good thing is you could say after this game that at the very least, the Texans had 6 penalties relative to 11 the week before. Yeah. So there's that. Let's read some more comments. T-Man says, I will never understand why defensive coaches run prevent defense. You're basically asking the offense to move the ball down the field, play man coverage. You have Stingley and Kamari. I get that. I also will say this. Not the best night for Kalen Balak, your safety. And I'm wondering how film is going to go for him. If your safety's not playing well, you maybe do want to give a little bit of cushion to the receivers. And again, well, I haven't watched the film back either. I can understand why the Texans defensive backs would give a little bit of cushion to a wide receiver core in the Bucs that has all these really talented players. Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Sterling Shepard clearly has a rapport still with Baker Mayfield. Like that's a good receiving core, and they didn't even have in tonight's game Chris Godwin, who's trying to work his way back from injury. Bucky Irving looked good. Rachaad White looked good. Bucs run game looked good. You know. You couldn't stop them. They shouldn't be running all over you when they're missing a left and a right tackle. Rick the Ruler says, bro, the offense is awful. We didn't lose because of the defense. Well, you had a chance to stop them at the end of the game. The offense, you got to look at the offense, and you have to have, I think, different expectations for it. And I know this is me like acting like the Texans offense is special needs, but I mean, TMN says, I think it's time we start asking about CJ. He hasn't had a good game in forever. Well, first half, he looked pretty good. Second half, not so much. Shredder SO7. Can't stop the run. Can't stop the pass. And can't score. Not interested. Yeah. Yeah, I think, as always is the case with Houston sports fans, there's a chance the team causes the fans to check out entirely. And an 0-2 start. I've seen Texans teams with hype before start off 0-3, 2018 team, win 9 in a row. No one gave a shit. Freed says on Instagram, Sports Gallant, why is D'Amico so committed to nickel? Petry's on the field too much, including on the last play of the game. Yeah. I get why they're playing as much nickel as they are, because it's 2025. But the Bucs clearly saw what was going on. Credit to Baker Mayfield. Credit to the Bucs coaching staff. They attacked and attacked and attacked. And you saw the Texans really struggle to stop the run. Petrie is good in run support. I know that tonight would differ. Got to look at the defensive line and why things were as easy for that Bucs running game as they were. But I get why you always have a nickel corner on the field. I do get it. I would just say when teams running the way that they are and maybe having issues with passing, you have to maybe reevaluate what you got on the field. What else do we have here? Rick the Ruler, stop it. 8 quarters so far. Just 2 touchdowns. 1 yard a game. It's not the defense. Dude, they gave up nearly 6 yards a carry. And the Bucs were missing 2 of their tackles. There is a higher degree of expectations. There's a higher level of expectations for the Texans defense. You've even heard it from D'Amico Ryans. The Texans defense has the potential to be the best defense in the NFL. I think it does. Texans offense is a work in progress, and by the end of the year, you're hoping that they can make enough plays when they need to. It's a gradual thing. New offensive coordinator, new offensive line. I think you have to you have to temper your expectations for the offense. For now, by the end of the year, the hope is that they're there. They ain't there now. You know, I have lowered expectations for the offense. I think everyone's expecting like fireworks and shit from this offense. No. Defense needs to get off the field. The Bucs dominated the time of possession, and they ran all over the Texans. Is that CJ Stroud's fault? You know it. They acted up in public. There'll be a laughing stock in every network tomorrow. I don't know about a laughing stock, but there's definitely going to be causes for concern and questions like, hey, can they rebound from being down 0-3? I don't know, man. What else do we have here? Bob Halsey says, same old Oilers. Damn, bro. Rick the Ruler says, I'm watching the game thinking, man, is this like when Matt Shaw was quarterback? We can't get the damn end zone kicking field goals all the time. Ugh. Juicy Messiah, this loss might be up there with the Kansas City playoff fake punt game. Come on. No. Overreaction. I get being frustrated. That's an overreaction. Freeds, I already answered that comment on Instagram. I like how at least some people are reuniting in my YouTube chat. Rick and Bob. I hope you guys hug. At least something good came up tonight. Everybody hates Lockhart, says tush push. Yeah, you may as well try to figure it out. The Chiefs are doing, or not the Chiefs, the Eagles are doing it, and they're like false starting while they do it. You may as well try it, but maybe the Eagles are the only team that gets away with it. From what I understand, and I'm going to have to double check on this tomorrow morning, but it seems like there were some copyright strikes against people who posted social media of the Chiefs and their false starts on their tush pushes from yesterday's game against the Chiefs. And like they had 2 guys false starting either side of the center on the tush push. Smashed on. Last year, they won all the close games. This year, they're losing all the close games. Show they were lucky. D'Amico has to realize that. I mean, they won all the close games in 2023 as well. They've lost 2 close games to 2 teams that are better than them, and the Rams, and on the same level as them as the Bucs. And honestly, based off the final score, the Bucs are better than them. Bucs are 2-0 on the road. Texans lose their home opener. Bob Halsey says, at least we didn't have a Laramie Tunsil brain fart at a critical moment. How is Mr. Ursary? Going to have to watch the film. I don't think he was the problem tonight. But again, going to have to watch it. Juicy Messiah said the offense gained some life today. Yeah, I thought that there were some steps forward from them, but the problem is they could not run the football. I know Nick Chubb had the 25-yard touchdown run, but before that, they couldn't do shit. And, I mean, right now, you are working with Nico Collins and to be determined. By the end of the year, hopefully Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel steps into that role. But, I mean, right now, it is just Nico Collins and Justin Watson and Dalton Schultz and Xavier Hutchinson. And let's be frank, like they're not on the same level as Christian Kirk. They're not on the same level as Tank Dell. Dell's not going to be back this season. What else do we have here? Steven De Los Santos says it's feeling like the same old. Hello again. Yeah. Chris House says we suck. Be real. That's far. Colts would dog us, not going to lie. Titans would beat us by 7. Colts would potentially win. I like Shane Steichen as an offensive coordinator. It's amazing how much better they are just with Anthony Richardson like away from the fucking team. Rick the Ruler says this game's about scoring points. Rules are in favor of the offense. Got to be better regardless of our expectations. I agree that the offense has to be better, but the defense is allowing 6 yards a carry. The defense is not getting off the field. The defense allowed the Bucs in the first half to convert pretty much all of their third downs. You know? Texans definitely shot themselves in the foot offensively, but I have such low expectations for the Texans offense compared to the Texans defense. Chris House asks, how can they score with an offensive line like this? Be for real. Just be honest. I mean, I think we saw how they feel about the offensive line, given that they threw on 3rd and 4th down from the 1 yard line. They certainly feel like this offensive line limits them too. But the only way the offensive line can get better is if they play with one another. You know, this is excuses for sure. And I'm mad and I'm frustrated. I mean, I sat through that too. But it's going to take time for that offensive line to work. Chris House says the secondary sucks outside of the corners. This was a bad day for the safeties. I think the film will show that, but this was a bad day for the safeties. Like Kalen Bullock had a couple of rough plays, and I think you could definitely say C.J. Gardner-Johnson was out of position from time to time. Everybody hates Lockhart says Ogunbowale can't block. We need Mixon. Ogunbowale getting pancaked as a 3rd down back, and C.J. Stroud getting sacked as a result of that is a clear sign to me that the Adari Ogunbowale experiment on the offense has to stop. He fumbled last week. And that play right there, you bring in Ogunbowale because he's the guy who doesn't fuck up the little things, and here he is fucking up the little things. And, you know, you hear the Texans coaches talk about him, and my God, they rave about him like he's... I'm not going to say how I feel about it, but they rave about him on a level that is weird. Like, they play favorites, and that's a weird favorite to play. Woody Marks has a burst on offense. He's clearly better as a pass blocker. He's a better receiver. You saw the catch and run that he had. Why isn't he on the field more? Why wasn't he on the field week 1? Doesn't make any sense. Chris asks, how do we stay positive? All you can say is a lot of season left. Next 2 weeks, you play the Jaguars, you play the Titans. Winnable games, but outright, are you picking the Texans to win either of those games? I don't know. Like Jaguars, Texans is a toss-up. It's a toss-up. You know, it's in Jacksonville, so it's going to be warm. The Jaguars are, I think, top to bottom offensively, working with a little bit more in the holster than you are. So I don't know, but that's a huge game now. It's pretty much must win. You have to win 2 of the next 3. You can't start off worse than 0-3. 2-3. You can't. So it's not looking good for sure. Steven says, hey, at least they scored more than the Raiders have. Brady's up in the booth. Geno Smith not looking so good. I know there was a big piece. I think it was in, I forget what newspaper it was in, but it was more about like the Seahawks' lack of commitment to Geno Smith. I get it. I just don't get why they picked Sam Darnold over him, you know. But hey, the Seahawks won yesterday somehow, some way. I don't really understand that one. I watched some of the film, and every single time I looked over to see Sam Darnold, he didn't look so good. But yeah, the Chargers look good. Hey, you beat the Chargers in the playoff last year, huh? That's a reason for optimism. I hate Largo says on Twitch. All the coolest people I know are diehard Texans fans, and they're crushed tonight. This sucks. Well, making matters worse, Jordan's hurt for the Astros. I didn't see the latest on him, but that certainly wasn't good. Let's see. I'm actually curious as to what the score is right now. Rachaad White was really good for the Bucs tonight, huh? How about Rachaad White? Goodness gracious. Smashed On asks, shouldn't they have kicked the field goal 4th and 1 in the third quarter? I mean, hindsight's 20/20. You could certainly make that case. You're at the 1 yard line, though. You know, I think you got to go for it. I think you got to go for it there, especially with the way your offense has been. You got to act like you have some confidence in them, but I don't know. Look, I encourage everyone to watch C.J. Stroud after the game tonight. Not good, man. I'm actually going to go to the I don't know why. I don't know why the live stream for the game is all the way back, but screw it. Let's actually put this thing in here. Let's put the Texans press conference in. And actually react to a little bit of it as you guys join, because I see some more people are starting to get in. I see the locker room's got a lot more viewers than I do. 698 people. Goddamn. Maybe some more people will come in at the end of this one. What do we got? Houston Texans channel. Let's see here. And actually watch the press conference. I gotta look at the transcript so I can get to a specific spot. Here we go. DeMeco Ryans was asked about starting the season 0-2. Here is what he had to say about that at tonight's post-game presser.
How do you overall just keep the team together? You guys started 0-2. I mean, 2 years ago, you guys obviously started 0-2, still in the playoffs. How do you, in this situation, finally dig yourself out of this hole?
Yeah, it's no hole. It's we lost the game, right? We lost 2 games we should have won, but to win games, you got to play better. You got to coach better. So it starts with me. I got to coach better. We got to play better. We got to execute better. You got to go win games. You're not just going to be giving games, right? So we got to find a way to make those plays.
It's no hole. I mean, you have to say that as the coach. But I thought DeMeco, as much as he's going to give you in a press conference, was frustrated. And C.J. Stroud, oh boy. Oh boy. Let's get to what C.J. had to say. After the game, here is the quarterback of your Houston Texans.
It's 0-2, but it's not over.
Yeah, just stay together. Stay committed to one another, trust in one another. The sun will rise in the morning. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, we all get paid a service, to do a job, and we got to get those jobs done at a faster rate. Yeah, I think, as a team, we got to just stay together. Everybody's going to talk crazy, and we suck, we this, we that, and at the end of the day, we got to stay together and just mesh well and, be honest, have hard conversations. But, I think right now we need more confidence as an offense at least, just confidently playing better together. I think that's a big thing. We haven't played together, a lot of us, so the more confidence that we build, I think the better that we'll be off.
Thank you.
That's how he ended it. I mean, CJ's talked about how, hey, there's got to be more energy out there, but the only way to get more energy is for the offense to succeed. And then you hear him there. And, I mean, the guy sounds depressed. I mean, let's just go to the beginning of the press conference. And it makes you wonder just about how CJ Stroud feels about where things currently are. I'm scrolling back to it right now because I did watch this thing live. Here is CJ Stroud after the game.
On that fourth down play, you're rolling left. Do you prefer to roll out left versus right? Does that matter to you at all?
No, it does not.
I can't believe that's the first question that got asked. I mean, look, That was a weird play on the goal line where he's rolling to his left. So I guess that's why they were asking, hey, why was that rollout to the left? But that play had no chance. None.
Hey, CJ, D'Amico talked about some communication challenges. Were those some of the issues when you guys got down in the red zone late in the game?
Communication in what way?
He just said there was some communication challenges.
I didn't have any communication issues. I thought we split the play pretty clean, and we were just lining up. Some guys weren't set, so I had to get Higgs set on the fourth down. And other than that, I mean, and that's kind of normal. But I didn't really not anything down there that I can remember.
By far the angriest and most frustrated I've seen him ever. And I would imagine he's as angry at himself as he is about what the offense is through 2 games. I'm sure he thought it was going to be a lot quicker, that the progress would come. It hasn't come yet.
When y'all had the ball at the 1 yard line, what went wrong in your opinion there?
Just didn't get the ball in the end zone. It was kind of plain, kind of simple. You know, just, I don't know. We just didn't get the ball in the end zone. That's all I could really think of.
Is it disappointing that y'all had so many opportunities to win this game, put this game away, and you weren't able to capitalize on the opportunities tonight?
Yeah, it is.
Well, through 2 games where you think just...
God damn. I feel for him. I think I would be just as short up there, if not going on a rant and throwing everybody under the bus. But he's pissed up there, and I don't blame him. Rough loss. I think it's more on the defense than it is on the offense. But it's because I have such low expectations for this offense, and because I have such high expectations for the defense. So, anyway, that's going to wrap up tonight's live stream. Hope you enjoyed the watch party a little bit earlier. I know none of us enjoyed that win for the Bucs, and I know now when you take a look at the Astros too, with Yordan Alvarez getting hurt, more things to get flustered and concerned about. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gallant Says podcast on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Like this video and subscribe if you're here. I'm on Twitch too. If you're a Twitcher, give me a sub at Gallant Says. I'm on X and Twitter at Gallant Says. On Instagram at Sports Gallant. Give me a follow if you want to see some clips from the show from time to time. Also on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. Give me a like if you're a Facebook person. You can catch this show weekdays, now that I don't have a radio show, at noon on all of those platforms, and after the fact via podcast on Apple Podcasts. Look for the Gallant Says podcast. Subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating. Maybe a review. You can do the same on Spotify. If you roast my ass, I'll read it. Until Tuesday at noon Central Time, so long, farewell. The sun will come up tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. And have yourselves a wonderful rest of your night and early Tuesday morning. Peace!